The Eagles are going back to the playoffs for the 7th time in their last 8 seasons. The 2024 Eagles have been one of the best teams we have seen by far, and as they enter Week 18 locked in as the number 2 seed with a 13-3 record, I thought now was the perfect time to preview their upcoming matchups and scenarios for the playoffs. Before we begin, drop a like to show your support, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things Philly sports. Even with the NFC still facing major questions and changes in Week 18, there are only 2 possible teams the Eagles can play in the first round. Those teams are the Green Bay Packers and Washington Commanders. I'll start with the Packers. The Birds have already played them once this year and beat them in Brazil in Week 1 of the season. Saquon Barkley was incredible, and the offense put up 34 points against the Pack. Jalen Hurts didn't have his best stuff, however, and the defense looked off. Remember, this was the pre-bye week Eagles, who went 2-2, dropping games to the Falcons and Bucks. After the bye, the Eagles have been arguably the best team in the NFL, only losing once. The Packers are currently an 11-win team, and they are really good, but I think that the Eagles should pick up a win against them in a home playoff matchup. The offense looks to be on another level right now, and the Philly defense is the best in the NFL. The Packers just lost to the Vikings on Sunday, giving Philly some hope that they can pull off a win in round 1. I would like to see a matchup against the Packers. The other team the Eagles can potentially face is Washington. The Commanders handed the Eagles their first loss since the bye week during Week 16 after Jalen Hurts left in the first quarter. It was a close game, but one that the Eagles threw away themselves. They dropped passes, CJ Gardner-Johnson got ejected, which hurt the defense, and they were drawing too many penalties. I think the Eagles want to face Washington in the first round. They want to get that revenge badly, and having a home playoff game against the team that took your chances of the 1 seed away is what I expect they want. I also think they beat Washington. Philly is really good at home, especially with that crowd during the playoffs. Washington's defense is not good enough to stop this Eagles offensive attack. They were able to shut the running game down in the second half in Week 16, but that isn't sustainable. Barkley and the offensive line are the best in football, and they had another great week against Dallas. This Eagles team is 2 drops away from being 15-1 and the 1 seed in the NFC. They are better than people are giving them credit for. Washington is going to have a really tough time coming in here and beating us in a home playoff game. Now, in terms of who I would rather face, it gets a little complicated. Playing Washington definitely would be a better rivalry game, but division opponents in the playoffs always scare me because anything can happen. Playing Green Bay might be better because they have no current hatred towards the Eagles, but they are the better team in my opinion than Washington. The more likely opponent is the Packers, as it seems like as of now Washington owns the tiebreaker. Washington plays Dallas next week, and the Packers play the Bears. Both should be easily winnable games. You'd have to expect both teams are trying to win as they look to face the number 3 seeded Rams rather than the Eagles. If they both win, Washington plays LA and we will face the Packers. Same applies if they both lose. In order to play Washington, Green Bay needs to win and Washington needs to lose to Dallas next week. It can very well happen, but right now, Eagles fans should be preparing for a matchup against the Packers. I would rather face Washington. This division rival matchup would be great for the enjoyment of the fans, as well as in preparing the Eagles for the later rounds. All in all, I don't think it really matters who we face. Both games are going to be good, and I expect the Eagles to get the job done against either of these teams. They just have to keep the same formula they have used since the bye week. Stick to the run game, look for some deep shots to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith here and there, and stay aggressive on defense and look for turnovers. I might do a short video right before the playoff game breaking down the actual matchup once we know who the opponent will be. I will also be breaking down every matchup the Eagles have during the playoffs. I'm really excited for this playoff run because this team has a really good chance at making it back to the Super Bowl. Stay tuned for all my Eagles content going forward. Make sure to like the video to show your support to the channel, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things Philly sports. New Eagles content will be coming out starting next week, and Sixers and Flyers content will also be coming out shortly. Thank you guys for all your support. I will do my best to be as consistent as I can going forward. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.